Okay, so let's try another one. I say another one because hopefully you're following along in my videos, seeing all the previous examples. If you're still following along, awesome. If you haven't seen the earlier videos, I recommend you start at the beginning because there's some useful, juicy bits in there that will probably help this part to make more sense. All right, so this image in particular, I really quickly tried convert negative and found it did not nail it. It was off. So I decided, hey, let's pull this in for a video and I'm going to try to convert it live. I haven't tried to convert it before, so putting myself on the spot. Hopefully it turns out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Okay, so let's go. So always start by white balancing, and it's pretty close because something I like to do is I get the white balance for the emulsion, and then I plug it into the white balance manually on my camera, so they come out pretty close. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So, but still a good idea to white balance. All right. Now, let's crop it down. And I'll show you what I found. When I just convert, I see this looks bluish, this looks magenta-ish. It looks like a cool day when I know this was shot on a warmer day, so there's something funny here. Yeah, so let's try, so undo, and then let's clone, and let's do another clone, because in this one, there we go, but the second one we're going to try a trick. This is a trick I use when I'm processing manually. Let's give Capture One the benefit of the same trick, and I mean, gotta be fair, right? And we see, oh, that looks nicer. And I don't know if it's quite correct, but it looks nicer to my eye. Now, when we back it off, we see that this is totally blown out. So, neither of these are what I'd prefer. If I had to choose one, I'd choose this one, and then maybe we adjust some. This is a little bit green, but it should be fixable. My bigger concern is this completely blown out sky, where we can see that if we actually, it may just be blown out. That might be the end of it. So let's maybe that's all there is to it. In which case, maybe this is good. But let's see what we can do. I'm not going to bother with this one because I like this one better. So let's put a point here and taper off those highlights. Something like that. Though there's no color. Now there's no color because of the way Capture One's Convert Negative tool just moves the levels all the way to the edges. And so there's that color that's the data that's in there, it's here. It's just in this part of the histogram that we can't access because of the way the input-output mapping is set for these levels. And the problem is I can move these over, but I can't move them over uniformly. Like if I slide these over, you see it's just messing everything up, and now I'm guessing. And at this point, I might as well just be editing the photo myself. So, yeah, so that's kind of it for the Capture One method, Capture One negative or convert negative. If you guys know another trick to save this, then let me know. I think that looks pretty good like that. So I'm gonna try doing it myself. I don't know if I can recover this. I might end up coming out worse, but let's just try it and see what we get. So same deal, something like that. And now I always like to turn off these guys because, well, I turn them off because they're trying to correct the lens that I scanned with, but there's no need. You can't correct the lens I actually shot the photo with, so I just turn it off. Okay, so let's line up the green. I always start with green. Oh, first though, let's get the data in a centered place. So I think the blue is the broadest channel, so I kind of use that as my guide. And it looks like a third of a stop up is about right. So now let's actually, I wonder, I'm just curious now. Yeah. No, I'll explore that curiosity on my own another day. So I won't drag you guys through with me. So let's see. So that's centered. Okay. Now let's get the green channel centered. Something like that. Oop, I'm always grabbing the wrong one. And now when you've got this long tail, like where do you end? Well, there's no right or wrong answer. I think as long as you're consistent across the channels, it doesn't matter. And you don't have to worry about, if you've seen my other videos, you know that I clip on these, whatever, these two zones of the histogram. But we're not going to lose this because we'll end up creating an S-curve that pulls this back in and tapers off. So I don't mind clipping it. So I think for consistency's sake, we're going to do something like that. And then we'll just let that little bit like that. Okay. There. All right. Now we just line up the red channel with it. And so about like that. So this is tricky because there's a longer tail on the left side for the red. So do I line it up at the first pixel where they both touch, or do I line them up where they have both have about the same area? And I think I'm going to go with area. Okay. Now that we have the red and the green lined up, now we want to do the blue. So get that close-ish, and then I'm not close here. I goofed. I think I fiddled with the left side of the red channel and forgot to line up the right side. Okay, there. I think that's pretty good. I maybe going too far. I'm too detail oriented. Okay, so now the blue, I'm gonna just that little bit right there lines up, and then we're gonna line up that little foot with the blue as well. Just get them all lined up. Now we don't really care if the middle is aligned. That's not supposed to be. There's more or less of different colors, so that's fine. Okay, the left is aligned, the right is aligned. This actually looks good. This looks correct. So let's open up our crop, and lo and behold, just like Capture One, it's completely blown out. Yeah, well, and there's no color information there. Yeah, so I think this was just overexposed, and there's nothing that can be done about it. Yeah, I think we could try messing around with the blue channel, seeing if we could like extract some, but I don't think there's any data to pull out. So let's just say that's unrecoverable and poop. So, all right, let's keep editing. Something like here. Now, I think that looks good. But that's a little blown out, so let's come back and taper off. I mean, we did blow it out, so let's not lie. It's gonna be blown, but we can at least be gentle with its blowout. And then I think, oh, we just want a soft, there. All right. So color-wise, it looks good. This looks a little more orangish yellow. Yeah, I do think theirs is a little bit warmer. I like that better. I don't like how this is handled. Compared to this one, that's just, forget it. So of the three, I'm still liking this one the best. That's just because mine's coming in a little on the blue side. So I could try adjusting the midtones, and pulling out some blue, which I don't like. Or alternatively, I could just try to move the white balance a little bit and warm it up. That I do like. There we go. Now they look relatively similar. Mine's got a little more punch to it, but that's because I fiddled with the levels to taste. But I think theirs is a little bit lighter. Anyway, now we're editing to taste, and I try to avoid that on camera because, you know, that's not, editing to taste isn't really helping anyone. So I'm just going to call it done here. Maybe add a little bit of saturation. Except before I go, can I improve this oranginess down here? I mean, that is pretty consistent across the images, and so I suspect that that's just, this was Portra, right? Yeah, Portra 400. So that might just be the way it came out, but I don't care for it. Now let's see. You guys can bail out now, forgive me. I'm just gonna stay on for a minute and just gonna see if I can't clear this up. So forgive me if the video drags. All right, so I'm in this range, and this is a yellow orangish. So let's focus on the reds and the greens. So that's in this range, right? So if we just put some anchors in here, some control points, whatever you want to call them. And now if we just shift this looks like we didn't quite hit the mark there. Nope, I thought that this... So clearly it's not the red that's the problem. Yeah, that big old hump there makes me think it's the green. Yeah, something a little more on the reddish end is what I'm looking for. That looks better, but I don't like what it's doing everywhere else, and that might be because of the poor bendy bends of the thing here. So maybe I can just smooth it out. Yeah, we're still getting a little bit of a magenta cast here in the... What is that? I don't even know what that is. A valve? No, you know, I'm not going to mess with it. At this point, what I would do is I would probably just create another layer and use... I would probably use Capture One's ability to, like, the color grading stuff, where you can, you know, create a layer mask based on a color, and then I would just pull that color down a little. So why don't I just do that? Let's see. So we want the color editor skin tone or advanced. Let's try advanced. So let's take this color range in here. Now, one thing we could try is just desaturating. And let's see, what selected area? Yeah, I think we could also try changing the hue. So that's just making it more red, which is not really what we want. Maybe we do want it a little more red, but we don't want it nuclear, and that's affecting other colors nearby. So let's bring the saturation down. Oh, now that's looking better. How does that compare, let's see, to... Yeah, that's a little more green. That's a little more muted. I like that better. I think that was it. That's it. Okay, so I cheated. I could have... This is no credit to me or my method of converting negative color film. I could have done the same trick to theirs. In fact, if you look at it, I think what happened was they look the same, and it's because I added some saturation to mine, which then threw it over the top, and so I just couldn't let it be, and I had to bring it down. So I guess I could go even further. Anyway, I'm taking up too much of your time. I could play on this thing all day long, so I'm going to call it done. This was not the best edit, but I think the goal here isn't to demonstrate like how to edit the perfect photo. I don't even know that I know how to do that. I think the point here is to offer an alternative way of converting a color negative to a positive when Capture One's Automagic button doesn't just get it right. The answer doesn't have to be, oh no, this is what Capture One gave me. Oh, let me just fiddle with it until I can't, you know, and it doesn't come out right. When it doesn't come out right, it's because they've limited you on these color channels. But by doing it, you know, yourself, you have a lot more range of these highlights, and you can finagle a lot more. So don't just accept what the Automagic button gives you. Use their tools and just line it up yourself the way I've showed you, and it'll come out a lot nicer. All right, that's it. Enjoy.